Good morning, kids. Today we're going to be looking at 5.NBT.3b, and that deals with I can use less than, greater than, or equal to symbols to record the results of comparisons. Results of comparisons, okay? Now, let's take a look at this. I have three numbers that we're going to compare. We talked about comparing last time. Today the emphasis is going to be on ordering, taking what we compare and put them in order. And usually the order will be either greatest to least or least to greatest. And you have to be very careful because questions vary from one to the other. So you have to be very careful which one you're looking for. Okay, let's do this one. Let's put these in order from least to greatest. Least to greatest. And of course, if a number is less on the left and greater on the right, our symbols would be looking like that when we make the comparison. Be less than. This one on the left is less than one on the right. Okay? So the first thing you need to do, the very first thing you need to do is you need to stack these like we talked about last time. Decimal top on top of decimal point on top of decimal point. Okay? It's very important that you line all the places up correctly. So I'm going to take this number, stack it underneath. Take this number, stack it underneath. Keep all of my places nice and straight and in order. That one's a little bit fuzzy right there, but it will work. It will work. And to keep the confusion down, I want to eliminate these. Okay? All our numbers are here. Now, I'm going to start comparing, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the least, because that's the number I'm going to start with. I'm going to have three numbers, a number here, a number here, a number here, and this is going to be the least. That'll be the middle, and that will be the greatest, because we're going from least to greatest. So let's look for the least. We're looking for the smallest number. We compare it the same way as when we're looking for the largest. Start with the greatest place value, the ones place. Which is large? Which is smaller? 5, 5, or 5? They're all equal. So what do? Yeah, you move to the next place over to the right. Which is smaller? 0, 3, or 3? The 0 is. So that's your smallest number. Remember, it doesn't matter how long it is behind the decimal point. That's irrelevant. As soon as you find one digit that is different when you compare, you found your answer. So this is the least, 5 and 38 thousandths. Okay, got that? I can kind of forget about that one. I've used it. I only have two numbers left. Let's find out which one is smallest. Now, we've already compared the 5s, and they're equal. How about 3 and 3? We've already done that, and they're equal. So let's move to the next place over to the right. Which is less, 8 or 0? 0. So that's our next smallest. So we'll write that up here, 5 and 308 thousandths. And then our last number has to be the greatest because it's the only one left. So that's 5 and 38 hundredths right there. Now, when I compare those, sometimes a question on a test just says put them in order like that. Sometimes they actually use the comparison signs. Let's go ahead and use the comparison signs. If this is this least, then this has to be less than this. And this has to still be less than this. So you have two less than signs that make that comparison. Now, you may or may not have to do that on your assignment today, but just keep in mind that's how you would do that. You can actually compare three numbers and use two comparison signs in one little example. Okay? Let's try another one. I'm going to let you do these yourself and see what you come up with. I'll just pull a few of these out. There we go. Three numbers, three totally different numbers. And this time I'd like you to put them in, I tell you what, let's stay with it. Let's stay with least to greatest. Let's get used to that first. Least to greatest, okay? Go ahead and pause and work this. Okay, now that you worked that, hopefully it didn't take you very long, the first thing you needed to do was stack them according to the decimal point. So I'm going to take these two and move them over and stack them decimal, decimal, decimal point, stacked in a row. All of them start with a 4 in the ones place. And then this one is 9 and 6, and that one is 0, 9, and 6. Erase those just to cut down on the confusion. And now let's compare. And again, we're kind of looking for the least first. Now, you can find if you want to find the greatest first, that's fine. You just need to make sure you put it on this side because we're going from least to greatest. So I'm gonna look for the least just because it's the first one closest to it. Okay, which one is less? 4, 4, or 4? Well, which one is least? They're all equal, so we move over. Which one is the least? 6, 9, or 0? 0. This is your smallest number. So that's 4 and 96 thousandths. Now let's find the next smallest. 4 and 4 we compared. Which one is smaller, 6 or 9? 6. So this is second in order from least to greatest. And this is our greatest number. Now, we've seen some examples the last couple of days where the shortest number tends to be the greatest. That's not always going to be the case. I just want you to be aware that that can be the case. All right? Don't get stuck thinking that's the only way this works. Now, did you put in your comparison signs? Did you do that? It's always a good idea. Now, again, they may not ask you to do this on your assignment, but you need to be able to do it. This is less than that, and this is less than that. There we go. Okay, you're gonna see that somewhere on a test at the end of the year, maybe, or on one of my tests. So be aware to do that. Okay, let's try one more example. And this time we're going to work it from greatest to least. And that's what I want you to be careful of, because your questions on your assignment today sometimes are going to be listing from least to greatest, and sometimes they're going to be listing from greatest to least. And if you don't pay attention to which one, you're going to get it completely backwards on some, okay? Check this out. Okay, I have 3 numbers there. Go ahead and begin working that and pause this. Okay, we're back. Did you take the first step? Did you stack these according to where the decimal point is? Hopefully you did. 3 decimal points there. It just so happens there's a 48. The whole number in front is 48. 4 in the tens, 8 in the ones on each one of these. Now, this has an 8 in the tens place. This has an 8 in the tens place. 1 in the hundredths place. Tenths place, hundredths place. And there we are. Got it? Now we can compare. Now this time we're going from greatest to least. Greatest to least. So we have 3 places. And this time, actually, we're going to do this one a little bit different. Sometimes you're asked to stack them from greatest to least with greatest on top and least on the bottom. Sort of like this. Greatest to least. It's not always left to right. Sometimes it's top to bottom. You can do that. So we're going to put the greatest number on top. So which one is greatest? Start over in the left-hand side. The greatest place value is what? The tens place. Which one's greater? 4 10s, 4 10s, or 4 10s? Equal. 8 1s, 8 1s, 8 1s. Equal. Skip on over. Which one is greatest? 7, 8, or 8 tenths? Well, this time we have a tie for the greatest, don't we? So what do you do? If you have a tie for the greatest, what do? You go on to the next digit. Okay? Which one's greatest? That has 8, 8 and nothing, and 8 and 1. Which is greater, 1 or nothing? This is greater. Okay? So our greatest number is 48 and 81 hundredths. Now, if the greatest digit when we compared was between these two, well, what has to be next? The next greatest has to be this. So that'll be 48 and 8 tenths. And then this is our smallest. 48 and 731 thousandths. And those are listed from greatest to least, top to bottom. Okay? Can you do this? Of course you can. You just did it. Okay? You did a great job, I'm sure. So just keep in mind, make sure you stack each number top to bottom with the decimal point. I'm going to show you one more. There's always seems to be one more. Make sure you don't make this mistake. Okay? Watch carefully. Okay? Greatest to least. Greatest to least. They're not equal. They're not equal at all. Now watch this. If you don't pay attention to the decimal point, you're going to be thrown for a loop. If I stack this over here and stack this one over here, if I stack according to the decimal point, this is 166 and nothing else. And this is 1 and 66 hundredths. Now, I'd rather have $166 than $1.66, right? This is obviously larger. If you don't pay attention to the decimal point, you might say that they're all equal, and they're not even close to being equal. So be very careful of something like that. Make sure you line everything up, and you will be doing an awesome job. And I'm going to look at your grade when you're finished, and I bet it will be through the roof, right? Good job, and good luck.